right, here we go. Sharing right now.
Oh. Let me check to see if the thing's on my thing. Yeah, the thing's on my thing.
That's a good thing.
Okay. All right. How's my hair?
Non-existent.
What was that?
Just something. Just something that just came up.
Yeah. Somebody on CNBC, one woman today, I can't remember what she was commenting on. She was talking about somebody being really hysterical, sounding like Ric Flair. Okay. About
wow.
It was great.
He's a cultural icon. You can't really deny it.
Excellent. She's a young, pretty young woman too, probably in her 30s or early 40s. You know what that means?
Mm-hmm.
No, doesn't mean a thing. Okay. It's the Brad and Britt cast. At your service here. Hey, did you get your double duty certs, 2 vaccines in 1 booster? The new one? Did you get it yet?
The appointment is for Saturday.
Good.
Gonna get that. You're gonna get the flu shot. Knock it all out. Done.
Yeah, we got it. I got them both in my left arm.
Yeah.
And thank goodness, because I was pitching for the Yankees Saturday night, and it gets a little sore there for a bit, but now I'm fine. I feel pretty lucky. I guess you do too, because of the tens of millions of people that have died from the vaccine itself. They get it, they walk out, and they drop dead, but you don't hear about it on the mainstream media because George Soros has put a lid on that kind of reportage. Correct? Do I have that right?
It's good, but if you could throw the words big and pharma together in that'd be great, because that has to be part of the thing as well. Yeah.
Well, he's obviously funded big pharma for decades.
There you go. Of course he has.
Yeah. But speaking of that, did you see, Michael Keaton got an Emmy Award for his work in the show Dope Sick.
That's correct.
Dope Sick. And I thought, wow, that guy's, I think he's going to have a career. I'm pretty sure.
You think
he's
so?
got a career ahead of him.
You can get some work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
by the way, they really just need to stop. First of all, and I don't know if you watched any of it, Britt, but I did not. We have a way of watching these shows, which is, we DVR them, and we wait till an hour or so in so that we can knock out all the commercials, because of course it's just the shows are insufferable as it is.
Yeah,
they're bad enough. And if you give yourself a good hour, that allows you to not only miss the commercials, but to just skip right by shit you don't care about, awards you don't care about, that are given to people you don't know who they are. So you need that. And remember, Britt, the older you get, the more slack you need in some, because you now know you don't know 50 to 60% of the people that are nominated. So anyway, that's how we did it. It was not Michael Keaton, but they have managed to cheapen up the show so badly. I mean,
really?
Okay, it's not going to look like it did 20 or 30 years ago. The big auditorium, the full orchestra, the giant production numbers, no expense spared to make it just fantastic. No, this was in what looked like your second Marriott ballroom, not the big one at the local Marriott, but the other one. Okay, they're sitting at tables. Okay, there are no seats; it's just like tables and chairs, and they're jammed together They're real close, not a big high seat. Just, it looked like what the Golden Globes have looked like for years, which is also, been in a shitty location.
Mm-hmm.
But that was bad enough. But not only was there no live music, but they went and they must have gone to the 60s or the 70s channel on Sirius XM and just recorded about 30 songs, because that was the walk-up music. They were just using old rock and roll.
Yeah.
Somebody wins an award. Here comes Satisfaction by the Stones. And they want,
wow.
What the fuck? I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe how cheap it was. It was just sad. It was just sad to see what
some of these shows actually have theme songs to them. Like Ted Lasso has a theme song to it. Better Call Saul. I mean, they didn't use that. They just used like
no. You're right. There was a time when when someone would, not anymore. No. They're just playing generic.
Our winner once again, Jason Sudeikis, Wild Thing. Ba-ding, ding, 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 ding. And
I think you've got it. You've got it. So it was just very, very, very sad to see.
So yeah, it's interesting. Yes, I saw the categories. They're not calling what Lizzo did, and it's either a structured or an unstructured reality contest. I didn't understand. There's weird categories I wasn't familiar with.
Okay, I'm sorry that you brought her name up. I was not going to make a comment.
I love that you have takes on this. This is great.
Have you seen? And wait, this is the worst. I'm going to do a fashion take on someone at the Emmys, Lizzo. Okay. Yeah. She is what they call an ample-sized woman. That's fine. And that's now an in thing. Okay. They have their own shows. They have cool, good. Everybody deserves their shot in the sun. But she wore this thing, this feathered thing that was about 7 feet wide. Mm-hmm. So it just covered everything. This feathered, she looked like a meteor had blown up and had hit a pigeon that had been dyed red, and it was just hanging all over. She couldn't get the feathers off. It was just absurd. It was just absurd. I mean, she's fine. I have no problem with any of the people. Everybody was appropriate. But again, it's the problem is not only that, but that it displayed inadvertently, whether people realized it or not. And of course, I'm more sophisticated than most people on things like this, and I see things others don't. This was the signature of what has happened to network television, because not only is network television now not at the top of the heap anymore in terms of money being spent, production, it's at the very bottom. And as a result, you get what you saw, which is absolutely nothing. And you get what people don't want anymore, and why they have left a lot of, quote, regular TV, because they don't want shit bleeped out. Okay? So this is on NBC.
Right.
On NBC. And I'm sure it was on Peacock also.
Yeah.
But it was on NBC. So there were at least 20 different bleeps, at least.
You did see you saw the story probably 2 or 3 weeks ago that NBC, there's some discussion, there was an internal memo or something at NBC that they're thinking about cutting off network programming at 10 o'clock to save money.
That's, by the way, that's the least surprising thing I've ever heard in my life.
They've not officially said anything, but there was supposedly an internal thing, and which is interesting that the Tonight Show could start at either 10:35 or 11:05 versus.
Oh well, then Jay Leno, he's available again. Yeah. He's that 10 o'clock slot is back open for him, huh?
Well, you remember that great they had that great stupid proposal to Conan O'Brien that he could start his show at 12:05.
Yeah,
we're going to give Jay 11:35, and then you could start at 12:05, and Conan goes, "Fuck you! The Tonight Show does not start the next day."
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Here's how bad it was. It was so bad. That the wife, who forces me to watch this, and I go along with it, she threw in the towel with an hour to go. She said, "Fuck it, let's just go watch Lawrence O'Donnell. We're done. We're out."
This is an hour's worth of takes on you. You had this much thought packed into 60 minutes.
There's a lot going on. Wait, all right. You want the most fucked up category that I can think of? Here's the most fucked up category. It was for sketch program. I don't know. It couldn't have been live sketch programming, but it was something to do with. But there were only 2 nominees. One was it's that black woman sketch comedy show.
Right.
That's what it called? Right.
Yeah, it's on HBO and on HBO Max. Didn't it just get canceled?
Wait. And Saturday Night Live. Okay. Yeah. 2 nominees in this category. Why do you even have a category? It's just absurd. It's absurd. So I looked at Jane before the envelope was read, and I said, "Oh, great. Another way to insult black people."
Yeah.
By not giving this to them and giving it to the under-rewarded, under-recognized, now for 47 years, Saturday Night Live. And of course, Saturday Night Live won in that brutal category.
Yeah.
Where they put this, and so Lorne Michaels come to great job. We had COVID last year, and people showed up and did their jobs. Thank you. And he walks off stage. That was his fucking. Oh my God! I wanted to stop. Make it stop, Lord. Make it stop.
As we continue to go down this rabbit hole, speaking of Saturday Night Live, you did see that Dick Ebersol's memoir is coming out today.
I thought he was dead.
No. he's
know what?
Still...
I wish I was dead for talking about this. I'm sorry.
Dick Ebersol, who continues to say he had the highest rated years in the history of Saturday Night Live and discovered Eddie Murphy and all of this good
Britt,
stuff.
You know what that is? That's equal to Trump saying he got the most votes ever for a presidential candidate.
Correct.
Except for one other guy.
I'll be interested.
The most of those Republican ever. Yeah.
That's one of those I'll get on Audible when the first of the month rolls over and I get my new credit on Audible. I'll listen to Dick Ebersol because I want to hear him talk about how great he is. Yeah. I do want to hear him. I mean, I can't believe he's going to be modest about anything. He and Vince McMahon were supposedly big buddies.
I'm not surprised. They're all part of the group. All right, here you go. QAnon is not Queen Anon.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a headline that I read anywhere. This is just my Republicans have their best day in months because bad inflation numbers came out today.
Well, let's do that one. Bad news for America is good news for Republicans.
Well, I mean, think about it. There has not been one positive thing for Republicans in many months. So the Democratic comeback, they're winning the generic polls. And I know in the New York Times, they've got an article that says, the Democrats are getting overconfident again. It's going to be like 2016 and 2020, and the polls are going to show they're ahead, and then they're going to lose like they always do. I know that's there. But the fact is, the Republicans are sucking wind, starting with the anti-Roe versus Wade, the Dodd decision by the Supreme Court. It's been shit for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they lost their quote small t Trump card, which is, boy, inflation is wrecking everything in America, and it's Joe Biden's fault. We don't have to campaign, we win. That was their up until the decision on abortion, right? And everything's gone south since then. They've lost 5 elections around the country when it's one-on-one.
Gas prices have come down steadily.
Gas prices have come down. Right. Things have been looking better.
Biden, unfortunately, was able to get his infrastructure bill passed.
Right. All kinds of right. And the
terrible
the badly named Inflation Reduction Act, which you want to talk about bad timing. They're quote celebrating that today at the White House. Oh my God.
Yeah.
On a day when the inflation numbers are what we call them in the economics business? Sticky. They're stickier than people thought they might be. So we may be at or close to peak inflation, but it's not coming down at all quickly.
So clearly this was something that would not have been priced into the market. The market was expecting some better news on these inflation numbers.
Well, but I don't want to get into the psychology of the market, which means I'm about to get into the psychology of the market. I mean, and this is how stupid, and a lot of it starts with algorithms and computers that scour the news wires, and when they see certain words, they trigger buy or sell programs, and stocks move a lot more swiftly than they otherwise might if just you or I sitting at our own computers might have to do the trading. So and these are big money moves. But if today's number had been 7.9 year-over-year inflation, the market would be up 1,000 points. And because it was 8.3, is that the number? It was 8.3.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, that's the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end of the world. Sell everything, run for the hills. It's over. Now, you and I both logically know that there's no substantial difference in what life is like in America today and tomorrow, whether the number's 7, 9. But that's how close to the razor's edge things are. You know, it isn't greed and fear anymore. It's shitty and more shitty. Shitty, we're okay with that. Stocks go up. More shitty, boom, down. And we'll they're going to keep raising the interest rates. And is it a policy mistake? They're going to go too far. What about the price of housing? It lags. Even when the prices start to go down, it doesn't show. And that's half of the CPI. And what the fuck is the Fed doing? You know, there's a million aspects to this. But bottom line is the Republicans, they love it because it proves that you need Republicans running the economy of this country because they have a plan, Britt. If they were in office right now, there would be no inflation, Britt.
They would unleash the magic of the free market.
In office, there was hardly any inflation, and gas prices were down, and it was all because Donald Trump's great, and Joe Biden doesn't know what he's doing. We know that, right? Right.
There's one of the biggest assholes in America, Jim Jordan, tweeting out, remember when they said inflation was just temporary? The House Judiciary GOP tweeting, don't check your 401k today, but if you do, blame Joe Biden. So, yes, again, bad news for America is good news for Republicans, Brad.
Right. Now, this is just a fact, but I think this is what I think, and you know, this is just a bad day. This is going to be a bad day. There's no doubt about it. But that in general, people judge the economy right now based more on what is the price of gasoline, because they see it every day. And you remember how it was and by the way, we've now passed the 90 days in a row that prices have fallen. And I think we're within about 50 cents of the old price, which by any measure is not a big deal anymore. But the way it's being reported, and I'm going to say this until I die, the way they're reporting this is as long as the price of gasoline is 1 cent higher than it was before the latest rise, then they have to include that in reporting the current average price of gas. So if the old average price was $2.58 and the average price gets down to $2.59, it will still be a problem. And those Joe Biden stickers need to stay on all the gas pumps that it's his fault. Because remember, not only was gas much lower under Donald Trump, gasoline price genius, but it never, ever went up even a penny. Never, not once. Remember that? Remember the good old days? So that's what they're banking on. And right now, the prices continue to fall. 90 days. No one would have predicted that one 3 months ago, but I'm glad it happened. And a couple days from now, people will be a little less fidgety about the initial number that came out this morning. And we've seen that the middle of each month seems to be a little bit better than the end of each month. I mean, it's just the way things have been cyclical just through months right now. So we'll see. September is traditionally a shitty month for stock. So if you just don't look at your thing, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Do not panic. Panic is not a strategy. Panic, not a strategy.
No, I have to look at it every day, and if it's down, I just wring my hands because it's
I
really.
look at it every hour. That's not the point, but that doesn't mean
that's how you have to really look at these things. It's not a long-term thing. It's really a day-to-day situation.
Oh, it is?
Oh, of course.
Is it hour by hour?
Oh, yeah.
Hour by hour.
I mean, that's exactly any 401k expert will let you know that. Anything, of course, people are going to freak out. Do you remember 2008, 2009? I don't think I had this stuff online. They would send the quarterly statements. I wouldn't even look at them, tear them up, throw them in the garbage. It was no good to look at them. What was the point?
Britt, I just came up with this one. Ready? Your 401k is now a 201k. That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah.
201k, is that the number of people that were raped at Ohio State wrestling when Jim Jordan was there? Or is it? Oh, sorry. I thought I misunderstood.
Too far, too soon.
Yeah. He's such an asshole. Just such a fucking asshole.
Yeah. So let me give you one of my little bubble thoughts that mean absolutely nothing. And Queen Elizabeth, clearly the most famous person on. I wonder what Muhammad Ali would say if he was around for the death of Queen Elizabeth. Because remember, his shtick was he was by far, and it was generally agreed, he was the most famous face on earth. Remember that? There was nowhere on the planet that he could go and not be recognized.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali would say he could have knocked that bitch out. I think that's what he would say.
But clearly the response to the death of Queen Elizabeth is, we've never seen anything quite like this. But may I just put in this little cheap comment? As wonderful a person as she was, as neutral as she was, which thank goodness she was so neutral. She was the glue that held that country together in the post-World War II period. I
really
give it all.
Really?
But they really do need to have a discussion about the monarchy over there. And this is going to be the moment that it starts to get discussed. And for all we know, Prince Charles could be the Gorbachev of the monarchy. I mean, he might be the one that says enough is enough. I mean, he's the first person you can remember. Of course, we don't ever remember a change in the UK at the top of the heap there.
No,
but he's the first guy to get his gig at age 73. Imagine that. You waited all that time.
Right.
You waited all that time. But I mean, on draft day at the NFL, we have these guys sitting at home waiting for the phone call, and if they have to wait 2 hours, it's the end of the world, right? For that job. He waited 73 years.
73. Yeah.
73 years. But my assertion is that being King of England, being any of those royals, is the all-time most disgraceful example of affirmative action ever. If you define affirmative action by people getting something, a place in college, a job, consideration for anything, just because of who they are or what they are, or who their daddy was, or who they know. You tell me if there's a more disgusting example of that than the British royal family, which I looked this up. You ready? They go back 37 generations, back to 849, the year 849. So every one of those people, not one of those people ever truly did anything to deserve what they were in life, what their station was. They got it by being born to the right person. I know that doesn't mean anything. It's irrelevant. Why am I bitching about that? It has nothing to do with it. But honest to goodness, to see the praise heaped upon these people, it bites a little. It's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of horrible, and in its own way. I mean, they're not. I mean, Charles appears to be a guy who, I guess, he's had enough practice. I mean, he knew this day was coming. So whatever he's been doing the last 4 or 5 days, I mean, he's getting 10 on the 10 scale for the way he's so good. That's fine. That's fine. But honest to goodness. And by the way, he seems to be, to me, a pretty bright, articulate, smart guy who could have been probably a good politician. He could have been that. But
well, he certainly has gone through his asshole mode. I disagree, though. I don't think there's going to be a serious discussion about this. It appears that this is something that Great Britain needs, or part of their national identity, or something. I don't think we can ever really discuss this. It doesn't seem like it.
Far be it from we here in the United States, we stupid colonialists, trying to tell the mothership what to do. Not telling them to pitch their king or their queen, depending on, you know what? I'm not gonna go there.
Well, you got to
attack. Thinking, what if a king wants to become a queen?
Well,
decides I'm not interested in being a king anymore.
It could happen.
Would that be a problem?
Could have. I mean, if you got to attack it when the guy's unpopular, and I think when he was 20 years ago, he was very unpopular. Now he seems to have redeemed himself, because I think you go to the next generation. I think Will's going to be very popular. They've always loved that guy. Whenever he gets to take the throne, when he's 86 or whenever.
No, but see, that's the thing. He's going to get the gig a lot younger, because Charles has taken the job at 73. His mom had it at 25.
Yeah,
there's a big difference.
He's still he could live well. I mean, he could live well past 100, and just be slobbering around, and they won't do anything to get rid of him or anything. There won't be any discussion of that stuff.
Yeah, but even if he lived to 100, Will wouldn't be as old as Charles is right
Will's
now.
Will be a sprightly young man of 60 when he takes the throne. It'll be great.
See, but this is like being a pope, getting the pope gig. All the popes, they're always old, right? We don't have 42-year-old popes. Now we do have 42-year-old federal judges in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a different discussion, isn't it?
That is a little bit of a different discussion.
That's a whole different discussion. All right. What else? Oh, I want to do this. QAnon is not Queenanon.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that the QAnon was heavy into Queen conspiracy theories.
Right.
Not Freddie Mercury Queen, but Queen Elizabeth Queen. Here they were. And these have been officially debunked over the years. Ready? Number one, Queen Elizabeth did not die before September 8th, and that her death was part of a dark conspiracy involving pedophilia or child trafficking. So she was in on that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, according to the QAnon. The musical artist Prince was not sacrificed in 2016 when he died on the Queen's 90th birthday that year, and that he, quote, had been put to death as a birthday gift to her. That's what the QAnon people were saying. Queen Elizabeth did not die from COVID, from the vaccine, of course, one of the 15 million that we haven't, that have been covered up. It was shown in PolitiFact that she and her husband, Prince Philip, no longer with us also, got vaccinated in 2021. And she got infected with the virus, I think, earlier this year. And one more. Here's a good one. I like this one. Rap TV, that's a hip-hop news outlet. This is obviously not QAnon. This is Rap TV. They were saying that she was shot and killed in Detroit. What? And then they smuggled her body. Wouldn't it be on the south side of Chicago? Isn't that where there are more murders?
Was she in line for a secret M&M show at a club near 8 Mile, or what?
It could have been. It could have been. It could have been any of those things. But quote, they don't want to talk about it, do they?
Was she partying with the coach of the Lions? He's Dan Campbell.
Yeah. No, she was touring that Motown Museum, the Motown Museum there.
I'd love to see that. I'd like to see
that. Where they made Hitstown, USA.
There you go. Did she get the T-shirt? Because that would be interesting. Put that on the coffin.
Yeah.
There's a story that Trump is embracing QAnon storm is coming meme. It's almost like he's trying to tell us something. Of course, if QAnon is a thing at all, their followers believe that Trump eventually will unleash hell and get rid of his detractors and those people who are trying to kill off MAGA Nation, Brad. And Trump is now on the Truth Social saying that, well, it does look like something's happening here. That is the latest from Donald John Trump, the former president of these United States, Brad.
This is called you got nothing. He's got nothing. He's just got nothing. He is being slowly but surely exposed to the world for what he is, even though most of us knew. But there needs to be, by a factor of pick your number, 100, the amount of blatant evidence as to not the strength of Donald Trump, but the weakness of Donald Trump. That's like leaning back on your, still sending out memes. Yeah, we're scared. America's scared of that, Don. And the smoke that's coming out of the asses of his lawyers to try to divert attention from questions that just don't ever seem to be answered. The real tough ones, in association with the pilfering of all of the important documents out of the White House, is why did you take them? What did you do with them for the last year and a half? And who saw them? And why did you take them? Those don't ever get addressed by Trump or his lawyers. Everything that they talk about is atmospherics and trying to turn the tables and turning him into some kind of victim of FBI and Justice Department malfeasance for having the temerity to enforce a subpoena, which was legally and I'm sure diligently pored over by a federal judge before he signed off on it, that had to do with a little phrase. It's a two-worder. I think I saw this on Law and Order once too. It's called probable cause.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, Britt, they don't come to your house and look through your stuff just because they had nothing better to do that day. That there's just no home game scheduled to attend. That's what they wanted to do. That they don't do that. That's not what they do. And he can't answer that, and he won't answer that until the very last moment, which will be when he gets actually indicted and is forced to testify under oath, at which point, if he lies, then he'll be even in more trouble than he's in already. And why did you take them? We don't have an answer to that. Not because they're mine. No, they're not yours. Okay, because I'm the president. Well, no, you're not the president. And that until that's answered, and we know what the answer could be under the worst circumstance. Pick your, did he hold these as extortion materials against something or someone? Was he actually selling off our secrets to
none of it's good. None of it's good.
There's not one, right? Yeah. Exactly. If you start thinking of these things, there's not one thing that justifies it or makes it anything more than what we know it to be, which is the actions of a madman whose campaign should have stopped the minute he got down that last step on the escalator at Trump Tower in 2015. So he has, so to think that all these years later he's sending out mean pictures, real mean pictures. The storm is coming. Please.
There's if you're watching their little tagline, that WWG1 WGA, where we go one, we go all, which is what those assholes say is their mantra.
Oh, that's so cool. Did you see that picture of him? Did you see that picture of him at his golf course in Virginia, standing there with a bunch of goons?
No,
have you seen this?
I haven't seen it.
Check it out. I guess this was yesterday at his golf course. He's standing at the tee with about 8 or 10 goons. They don't even have golf clubs. Okay. So they're standing at his golf course. So of course, we always think the best of Donald Trump and just assume that was a mob boss style meeting where you meet out in the middle of an area that, can't be recorded because, no one can ever get close enough to it. It's the equivalent of going out into the woods, right? And handing off the money or the gun or exchanging the hostage away from sight.
Well, there we go. There's a picture of them.
That's it. There you go. If you're watching this, that's the picture.
I'm counting 8 people that are surrounding him. Surprisingly, all of them white guys.
8 goons. Yeah.
Shockingly enough, I don't know if any of them could bust ass, but a few of them maybe bosses who can command some guys to go bust some heads. And he's telling some story about how he moved on her like a bitch. So there's that. That's him. Meanwhile, huge victory, and you're not talking about this, by that bumbling bunch of idiots known as the Trump legal team. It looks like they're going to get their pick. The Justice Department saying they would accept Trump's candidate for special master, Brad. Raymond. He is Raymond.
I would not. I think you're being wrong here.
I'm being facetious, but yes, it would be considered in a place where they haven't been able to get out of bed without tripping over their own dicks. They did get approval for that. It looks like Raymond Dearie is going to be the guy. Appointed to the bench by Ronald Reagan. Again, another spry young man of 78 years old, law degree from St. John's University, Brad, in 1969.
The guy is a fucking federal judge. He's been part of the FISA, the court that looks at all kinds of subterfuge and documents and CIA stuff. So he knows his stuff. So I don't think there's one bit of evidence that they, quote, found a guy who's in the tank that's going to look at all this material and suddenly decide, I don't see anything. What the hell is that? I think that they think, remember, if the Justice Department says, yeah, we're okay with that, there's a reason that they did that. Right. Well,
I think the move now for the move for the junior varsity Trump legal team be like, we're not okay with it. We were kidding.
That's the most Trumpy thing ever. Okay. Yeah. We suggest something. If you agree with it, then we don't agree with what we suggested. That is the most Trump thing of all time. Right? It is.
Never let him have your first offer. Go with the second one first.
Yeah.
You dumb bastards. We're way ahead of you. No, they don't. The Trump so-called legal team is crashing and burning on a regular basis, and they're not going to get anything done here. But again, delay is really the strategy, and that seems to be what's going on at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be delayed. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work.
The walls seem to be closing in on a number of fronts, including Georgia.
When it's over, we'll look back and we'll say, how many times did we think? And then suddenly it's over. It's like a football game that just seems to be going one direction, and then suddenly something happens and everything changes. How many times have we seen that? We've seen it a lot, and I think that's what's gonna happen here. There's too many smart people that aren't named Donald Trump, who of course believes he is the smartest person ever born. That's what this is all about. That's the hubris. There's nobody that can outthink the brilliant me. I win every time. I never lose. And even if I do lose, I never acknowledge it. So what's the difference between this and everything else that I've ever wiggled out of my entire life? The answer is a lot. And I don't think so. I don't think you're going to get away with it all this time. You're not going to walk clean. You're not going to walk back into the nomination. You're not going to walk back into the White House. You know what? I'll tell you. But before we go, I just one more thing.
He's not going to walk back into the White House. There's no device for him to walk back into the White House other than being elected in 2024. Unless you think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I got one more thing. I want to go back to this this whole thing about, and I think this was started by Nate Cohn, who's the number cruncher election watcher for the New York Times. He's that guy. He's their Kornacki.
Right.
You see, Steve Kornacki is a guy. He's on NBC. He does sports now too. Do you know that? I didn't know that. He's like he does odds on football games too. You seen that? This whole thing that in 2016 and in 2018, Democratic strength was overestimated, and they just couldn't figure out how to poll enough Republicans. They just couldn't get enough responses, so the predictions were distorted. And as a result, Donald Trump won in 2016. And wait a second. Let's go back and look at this here. First of all, the national number was correct. It was within the margin of error, but I think the national prediction for the most part was for Hillary Clinton to win by from 5 to 8 points. And I think she won the popular vote by what, 3%, something of that sort. And that's turned into, look at the mythology here after all these years. It's now Donald Trump crushed Hillary Clinton in 2016 because she was she made the mistake, their campaign made the mistake of not campaigning those last few months. They thought they had Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania in the bag. That was a mistake. But that did not result in Donald Trump winning those states by 30%, which is how it's being portrayed now.
Right.
That's making it seem like, oh my God, Republicans, they snooker the poll takers every time. They get the Democrats. Okay. And then in 2020, same thing. Same thing happened. Republican, wait a minute. Really? First of all, who won the fucking election in 2020? Biden. And he won it by more than twice the margin in the popular vote that Hillary Clinton did. And he won all these states, which, of course, as you know, he cheated. And, they shipped all the voting machines over to Italy to have the votes changed. But he did win those states that we were just talking about, plus Arizona. And that gave him that large margin in the Electoral College. I would submit to you that we're in a place right now more akin to 2018, the midterm elections. This is not a presidential election year, but it has the benefit. I'll write down this day that I said this. If I'm wrong, if I'm proven wrong, I'll eat it. But I would submit this is more like 2018, because 2018 was the midterm backlash to Donald Trump. And the Democrats won big. They flipped the House big time, right? And I would submit to you that right now, there's more likely to be a electoral backlash to President Donald Trump than there is to Joe Biden. Now, this is all open for revision based on economic numbers and things that can change in the next 2 months. I know that. I understand that. But to say that the polling is giving Democrats some false sense of confidence, which they do not have. So this is the pretend the Democrats are thinking that they've got it in the bag because things have gotten better for them in the last few weeks and months because of the gun legislation, because of the Inflation Reduction Act, which shouldn't be called that, but that's a different issue, and other things. And by the way, with fucking Putin on his ass right now at this moment, how is that perceived as anything but a brilliant stroke of foreign policy commitment by Joe Biden? How is it not that right now? Again, things can change. Putin, he might be like a caged animal right now and start launching chemical weapons or actually blow up that nuclear power plant and fuck up all of Europe and Russia. That's possible. But right now he's losing. And if the reporting is correct, the internal strife inside Russia is coming after him. They are coming after him hard, and they're even talking on Russian state TV controlled by Putin that what the fuck is going on here? And they normally don't say that. So something's going on there. We'll see. So this idea, oh my God, just like in 2016 when Trump crushed Hillary Clinton, it's going to be just like that again. And the hearts of Democrats will be broken everywhere. It could be, of course that could happen. Of course that could happen. But I think this, it's not a question of it's not the same this time. It's more of a question of it might be the same this time, but the same this time compared to the last time, you're making up shit about the way it was the last time. So get it right, nail it down, in the words of the late Frank Reynolds. Get it right.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.